Okay. Hello and welcome to Twin Talk. I'm Angie and I'm here with my sister Joy. And today we're going to be discussing a couple of books that we would like to recommend to you and to each other. So Joy, I guess I'll start us off here. First of all, how's everything going with you?
Just been pretty crazy week. I don't know. Been very busy, very crazy, and that's why we didn't get our podcast recorded. We didn't get our podcast out Friday.
Last week, we actually had some snow and ice, which we have not seen that amount of snow in this area in a long time.
Yeah, I think it's actually been called the snowpocalypse by many people. We actually missed a whole week of school because of the snow and ice. So, Of course, I was kind of excited, and of course, all the kids were excited. And then so that was last week, and then, I'm sorry, the week before last, I guess. And then we went back a full week this last week, and it was kind of hard coming back to school.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're right. But I guess that's the main thing that's happened to us recently of any significance is the snowpocalypse.
Yeah, but it was nice. I think I slept. I caught up on some sleep. Our pipes froze over, though.
Oh, that's right.
So I have to tell the story
about
real
that.
quick.
Okay.
So, just to flush the toilet, you have to put water into the tank of the toilet. And so we had no running water. So just like Laura Ingalls, I'm like, I'll just be tough like Laura Ingalls. I'll pioneer woman it, here for a while. Now our heat was still working, so that was great, but just no running water. So there was tons of snow. So I took my mop bucket, went outside, and just started carrying in. And now you got to remember, though, we had a cold snap, like a Arctic front came through. We literally got down to like negative.
Yeah, we were in the negatives.
Yeah. I think we even had a wind chill factor of negative 17 one morning.
Yeah, I remember one morning some of the temperature, the thermometers were actually said like -7, and then the wind chill factor was way worse than that.
So we're not used to that around here. Now, you guys who live up north in the northern part of the United States, I have new respect for you guys. How in the world do you guys live with these really cold temperatures? This is pretty normal for them, I'm assuming, in the winter, but for us, it's not. But anyway, I took my little mop bucket and I went out there and I filled it with snow and I thought, oh, this will be enough to, melt and fill up the tank of my toilet so we can flush the toilet. I'm not kidding you. Now, this is probably exaggerating, but I would say it probably took 5 full mop buckets of snow to make like 1 gallon of water.
I could see that.
Forever. So I literally had a big, huge pot on every burner, 4 burners, and I'm melting them like 24/7. And I'm using them to fill up the toilet. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to try to do some dishes. Because couldn't run the dishwasher, And that was a whole nother. It probably took me 2 hours just to boil enough water, just to do a few handful of dishes. And I'm not kidding. After 4 or 5 hours of just boiling water and heating up water, I was like exhausted. I was like, how do these pioneer women make it? And then I was talking to our mom about it. She goes, well, when we were growing up, we always had to heat our water, and we never thought anything of it. And I thought,
really?
That's what she said.
Oh.
And so, but I have new respect for the pioneer people.
Okay, I have a confession to make.
Okay.
So over the past few months, I don't know why, I'll buy a gallon of distilled water here and there.
Yeah.
And the thought kept going across my mind, take that water to Joy.
No.
Because I had all these gallons of distilled water, and then now you're telling me this horrific story about boiling water for hours at a time.
I'll have to say,
and why didn't I bring you that water?
My toes and fingers were so numb, they were about to fall off, and I almost had frostbite, but it's okay. You keep your water.
Okay, on second thought, I probably was going to, but the roads were just too dangerous.
I'm sure they were.
Yeah.
The roads were pretty bad.
They were
especially
pretty
where I
slick.
lived in our little neighborhood. Oh my gosh. It was bad. It definitely was dangerous to be out on the roads and driving around.
Yeah.
But anyway, sorry, we got off the subject there. But during the snowpocalypse, I did get a tiny, tiny taste of what being a pioneer woman was like.
Yeah, we literally, even to this day, you can walk around my house and we have towels stuffed in all of the windowsills because you could feel the air everywhere that there was any type of draft or where a window's not completely sealed. You could feel the air coming in.
We got masking tape and put it because our doors are so old. And we need new doors.
Y'all's doors are kind of off center too.
They're off center, and you can literally see kind of daylight through them, and you could feel that So that air was so cold. We had
School teachers need raises, people.
Yeah, come on, man, raises for the school teachers. But anyway, so we had masking tape all around the doors. We had towels stuffed in there.
Hey, I have bubble wrap over a lot of my windows.
Oh, this is sad.
I have bubble wrap and masking tape.
Well,
on some
and
of
I
my
will
windows.
say this: if we do get our rebate, not our rebate? What's it
Oh,
called?
our what
stimulus.
They call it the COVID
The stimulus check.
stimulus something.
If we do get the stimulus, we're pretty sure we're going to buy 2 exterior doors with it.
Oh, okay.
So there you go.
Okay. All right. Well, that was fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, I'm glad it was fun while it lasted, except
Yeah.
for the pipes freezing over.
Yeah.
But I'm ready for spring.
I saw the funniest thing on Facebook. Someone had posted a comment and it said, "For all of you people who said this won't happen till hell freezes over," they said,
Yeah.
"Well, today's the day."
Yeah, today's the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was funny.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and get into our book recommendations. And the book that I'm going to recommend, and before you say this, I know you're going to say I've already read this.
Okay.
But the reason I'm recommending it is because I feel like it's one of those books that you need to read at least once a year.
Okay.
Okay, so this little book that I'm actually holding in my hand is called Simplify Your Life.
Yeah.
And the book is literally, I'm going to guess it's 3 inches by 3 inches.
Yeah.
It's a tiny, small book.
And didn't you buy a copy for me?
I may have.
Or did I just borrow it? I remember
know.
reading that. Yeah, and I
Oh.
thought you bought it. You either let me borrow it or you bought me a copy.
So this is one of those books where, people say, oh, that book changed my life.
Mm-hmm.
I can honestly say this book changed my life. I
Right.
can honestly say that. And even to this day, because, the book is called Simplify Your Life, 100 Ways to Slow Down and Enjoy the Things That Really Matter. And it's by author Elaine St. James. It was written in 1994.
Yes,
And
I
I'm guessing
remember
I
it.
read it probably 10 to 15 years ago for the first time.
Right.
Okay, but here's the thing. It deals with so many aspects of your life, of how to simplify your life, and it just makes you really think about, why am I doing certain things that I'm doing? And it just changed my whole outlook on why I hang on to things that I hang on to, and just how I look at life in general. So I'm just going to read a paragraph out of the beginning of the book, and I want to get your
I do remember a few takeaways from the book, and you're right. I do think I need to read it again. It's been so long, but I have a few things I remember to this day. I remember when I'm doing stuff like, why am I doing this? And I want to ask you if you remember these too.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I'm going to read this paragraph, and I want your thoughts on this.
Okay.
Okay. Let your boat of life be light, packed with only what you need: a homely home and simple pleasures, 1 or 2 friends worth the name, someone to love and someone to love you, a cat, a dog, and a pipe or 2, enough to eat and enough to wear, and a little more than enough to drink, for thirst is a dangerous thing. And that was by Jerome Klapka Jerome, was who said that. So what do you think he means by that?
Wow, you'd have to read it again. I'm sorry, I didn't know you were going to ask me about it.
Well, okay, just summarize. Let your boat of life be light.
Yeah, you
have
just
a
can't
few
weigh
simple
yourself. I
pleasures.
think possessions equal weight. They equal stress. The more you have, the more you have to take care of, the more you have to worry about. And I almost feel like they're talking about, I mean, it could be other things, but if he's talking about possessions, keep them light. Don't hoard things and, buy everything you see. And it's just, the more you have, the more you have to take care of.
Yeah,
bottom line.
and the last thing he says in that paragraph is thirst is a dangerous thing.
Yeah.
And
I don't know. That's the part I kind of went, I'm not quite sure what he's saying there.
I equate thirst with want.
Yes.
Always wanting.
Greed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so another thing that they say in the book, which to me kind of summarizes what that man just said, is the secret to happiness is not in getting more, but in wanting less.
Ooh, that's deep.
That's very deep. And I used to work with a lady, and she made the comment to me one day. She said, I've been praying that God would lessen, that I would be free of want.
Yes.
And I thought, oh, wow, just think, what would life be like if you didn't always want?
Yeah. And this is something that I struggle on a daily basis with myself and with my daughter. She wants everything she sees. Everything she sees. Even this morning, she goes, Mom, you know how you say I want every single thing I see? And I said, yes. And she goes, we were in my bedroom. She's like, I don't want that TV, and I don't want that bookcase, and I don't want this bed. Well, she was just being a little smarty. But anyway, I was like, you know what I mean, Olivia. But she has a problem, and it's not just her. It's millions of Americans and people all over the world.
A lot of kids are like that.
But I've been the same way. I'm like, God, and this is what I preach to her, and I'm preaching to myself too. Let's be content with what we have. We have so much. I said, sometimes, Olivia, I think you forget what you have. And it applies to me, too. I said, maybe we need to take inventory of everything we have and be thankful for that and content with that.
Focus on what you have and not what you don't.
Focus on what you have and what you don't have.
Yeah. Okay. So, just a real quick little summary of what some of the topics the book discusses. They actually break it into categories. There's 6 categories in the book, and they discuss your household, your lifestyle, your finances, your job, your health, and your personal life. So, they cover the major areas. They cover the whole gamut there. And when they talk about, and the things that stuck with me the most, and you and I can attest to this, and I'm going to mention something to you, is your household. How many hours of conversation would you say you and I have discussed about decluttering our houses in our lifetime? If you could just guess, just so our listeners will just get an
dozens,
idea.
I guess, dozens and dozens.
I can't even begin to explain to our listeners how much you and I talk about our decluttering and getting rid and simplifying our lives by getting rid of things and asking each other for moral support.
Yes.
How many times have you said,
Angie, I need moral support.
Yes.
Come to me. Come over while I'm cleaning up my closet and say, you really don't need that ratty T-shirt from 1987 or whatever,
Because we both believe that if we have someone else who has a different perspective of something that we're attached to, they can talk to us and talk us down from the cliff, so to speak, and reason with us, like you said.
And we both know that we hang on to things because of sentimental feelings,
reasons,
memories. We have sentimental attachment. We don't really need that object. We don't use that object, but it's a mental thing, and we need to tell each other. And honestly, I know this might sound strange to our listeners, but I've done this. Like when there's an object that I'm like, I just don't have anywhere to put it. I don't know what to do with it. I've taken a picture of it and maybe sold it or given away or something, but I still have the picture. See, I'm still hanging on to it in a way, but I'd rather have a digital copy than that big thing taking up my space, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it makes total sense. And I had this aha moment a couple years ago when my precious mother, she was cleaning out something and she decided to give us our baby books.
Yeah.
So she gives me this baby book, which I'm like, well, that's cool. And I start flipping through it and I look at some cards and this is going to sound awful, and I hope Mom never listens to this podcast. But I thought, this doesn't mean anything to me. She's held this on all these years, and I did not have a connection with that book.
Right, you didn't know the people's names. I didn't know the cards.
And some people might be like, oh, I would love to have something like that for me. But honestly, for me, it was kind of like, okay, and it made me rethink all the things I'm hanging on to for my children that someday they'll be like, what's this? It was kind of one of those moments like,
I'm the same way. I have tons and tons of journals and diaries. And right now,
that's something I can't.
Olivia is wanting to read them, but I'm like, I don't really want people reading those when I'm gone. There's a lot of personal stuff in there, but yet I don't want to get rid of them. I'm like, well, what do I do?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
don't ever go back and read them.
It's funny because I don't want to get rid of mine because I feel like I have a lot of issues in my life, and I'm often thinking maybe if I went back and read my childhood diaries, it might give me some insight into why I do some of the things that I do.
Yeah, that's true.
But
a lot of them I just don't pick up and read because they're painful. They remind me of the painful things, because that's when I would write a lot, when I was in pain or something bad had happened.
It was either something really good or really bad.
Yes.
It's the only time I really would write.
Yeah, I was either on a real high or a real low, and I don't. There's been a few times throughout the years that I've picked up a few, and I'm like, oh, I forgot about that. Oh, I wish I hadn't read that. And then I'd be in a bad mood or angry or getting mad at something. Oh, I forgot he did that or said that. And I get angry. I'm like, why did I even pick it up?
You make a really good point, because we found some of my old calendars the other day, and I would write a lot of things that would normally be put in a diary. I would write on my calendar.
Yeah, and that's something our mom does.
Yeah, and Cambry would be reading some of the stuff out loud, and some of it was painful, and I thought, why am I subjecting myself to this? And I read somewhere the other day, and it was really good. They said, things in your past that really haunt you or bother you, they said it's really good to, how did they say it? They said to look at it in a different way. Like it made a change in your life, or try to find something
Usually
positive
it does
about
grow
it.
us. Usually it does make us stronger and wiser. You have to go through pain to grow. I mean,
That's
there's just no way
true.
through it. But I just don't want to revisit the pain.
I agree. Okay, so I'm just gonna. I just had a couple more things written down. I wrote down my favorite topics and some of my favorite suggestions that were included, and I did a top 10 of my favorite things in the book. Number 1, reducing clutter, which we just talked about. Number 2, turn off the TV. 3, rethink your buying habits. 4, turn your hobby into your job. 5, which I thought, ooh, wouldn't that be cool? We could turn this into a job. That would be my dream. Okay. 5, always split a restaurant meal. You and I do that.
I try to get my husband to because we very rarely eat out. It is so rare. But when we do, we're stuffed, we're miserable. And I always say, hey, let's just split the main meal, save some money, and then we'll go get a dessert somewhere. Yeah. But he never, ever
sounds just
wants
like
to do it, ever.
Yeah, sounds just like him. Okay, number 6, learn to laugh. 7, if it's not working, stop doing it. That's a good one. 8, stop trying to change people. 9, spend 1 day a month in solitude. And 10, change your expectations.
Yeah.
So, those are all some really
all good.
Yeah. So, anyway, but my favorite, this is one thing that's been suggested in the book, and all my life I've said, yeah, I'm going to do this someday. Well, I've yet to do it. And I'm just going to read real quickly. This suggestion is get up an hour earlier. And I'm just going to...
My husband will laugh at that.
Okay, yeah.
It's so hard for me to get up in the morning.
I know, but this is
I agree. I'm not kidding. In some ways, my life would absolutely change if I could get up an hour earlier. It would absolutely change a few things.
This is something that... It honestly would be a miracle if I ever did get up an hour earlier.
Me too.
But if I could do anything in my life that I think would make a difference for the better... It would be this.
Maybe we should challenge each other.
Okay. So here, I'm going to tell you what the author says about getting up an hour earlier, and then I'll end on this. Okay. The best hour of the day is the hour just before the time you are currently getting up. Mm-hmm. If you're like most people, you schedule your wake-up hour so that you have just enough time to get dressed, grab a bite of breakfast, take a quick peek at the headlines or the morning news. Maybe, I don't even do that. Maybe get the kids off to school and get to work by 8:30 or 9. I'm thinking, where do they work?
What world do they live in?
What world is that where you get to work at 8:30 or 9?
I have to have my daughter at school by 7:30.
Yes. Adding an extra hour to your day, especially if you use it to do something other than work, is an effective way to relieve stress and to give yourself the feeling of having much more time throughout the day. This may mean going to bed an hour earlier, but an extra hour in the morning when you're rested is so much more productive than trying to stay up an hour later at the end of the day.
Oh, yeah.
So if you've never had an opportunity to enjoy that quiet hour before dawn, I urge you to start doing so tomorrow. You'll be amazed at the richness, peace, and simplicity it can add to your life.
Well, here's where I would have problems with that. Mm-hmm. My alarm's set for 6. I usually hit the snooze button 2 or 3 times. If I sleep in past 6:20, I'm in trouble. At 6 o'clock. So I'd have to get up at 5. Oh. My thing is, and I don't mind, could even pull it off a few days. But I would be in there trying to load the dishwasher or fold laundry. It wouldn't be peaceful. I probably wouldn't be reading my Bible. I probably wouldn't be looking at the headlines. I probably wouldn't be meditating or whatever people do. I think I would be like, oh, this is a perfect time to get some housework done or be getting schoolwork ready.
Yeah,
so I think it would still be stressful, but that would be on me. Mm-hmm. That'd be my fault. What would happen if you got up an hour early?
Same thing, probably. I would like to think that I would use it to go take a walk in the morning during the nice weather.
Oh, you just thought of something. If I could take Tucker for a walk in the morning, he would love that.
If I could take a walk or even just get up and fix my family a nice breakfast, you know, just and not be rushed. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so that was, like I said, I highly recommend this book, Simplify Your Life, 100 Ways to Slow Down and Enjoy the Things That Really Matter by Elaine St. James. And you can literally sit down and read this book in an hour or less. You can flip. You don't have to read the whole book. Just flip through the sections and see what you feel like could.
And I love the book recommendation. Like you said, I do remember reading it gosh, it's probably been, like you said, 10, 15, who knows.
Now, I
how
will
long.
say there's a few things in here that I don't agree with her. Like, one of them is stop sending Christmas cards, bow out of holidays. I don't agree with some of those
I don't
things.
agree with the bow out of the holidays.
There's things that she does that I don't agree with, but I would say 90% of it is
same
some
here.
good stuff.
There's still, even though we don't agree with the whole thing, there's a lot of really good, valuable stuff in there. Very good book recommendation.
Okay, so what you got for us?
Okay, so I'm not nearly as prepared as Angie. And I've had plenty of time to be prepared, so I have no excuse.
Sure, you do.
Anyway, the book I'm going to recommend, it's called Heaven by Randy Alcorn.
Oh, okay.
Have you ever read it?
No, and you were telling me about how awesome it was here several months back.
It is fascinating. So I listened to it on Audible, and then I have it is a long book. It's very big, very thick, it's long. And it's what it is, this guy named Randy Alcorn, he said, we don't know that much about heaven. And he said he feels that people have a very negative view of heaven. Like, why would I want to go to heaven and sit around on a cloud and play the harp all day?
Oh, yeah, they have
You know how people have that viewpoint if it's going to be boring and there's nothing fun. You will never look at heaven the same way again if you read this book. And he's not saying that everything he's saying is 100%. He's just saying based on Scripture. And he goes through and he gives all the Scripture behind why he thinks it's the way it's going to be. And he does a really good job of backing up these are all theories, obviously. And we don't know. We have an idea based on Scripture what heaven's going to be like. But he really jumped in and went in depth on the Scripture study. And he backed up a lot of this stuff with Scripture, and it is fascinating. We are going to have jobs in heaven, according to him and their Scripture. Oh, I should have had my Scripture in front of me. There's a Scripture that does sound like we will have work in heaven and have jobs, but it's not going to be like the earthly type of job that we're fatigued and, I don't feel like going, or we have. It's going to be something that we enjoy.
It's something that is
something
to the glory
that we
of
find,
God.
something that's serving and that we find joy in. And he even brought up gardening. He said, "Do you love to garden?" He goes, "Who knows? One of your jobs might be to take care of one of the gardens in heaven." And I thought, I love to garden. I love to watch plants grow, and I love that. And it's not going to be tedious. It's going to be something fulfilling and that we find joy in. Another thing is he feels like there's going to be space exploration. He feels like we're going to be able to travel throughout the galaxies and the universes and travel and explore.
Oh, that's wild.
I know, things that you just never would even consider. Another thing was languages, because as a Spanish teacher, I have spent countless hours learning the language, practicing the language, studying the language, and I enjoy it and I love it, and I'm still have a long way to go. I'm what you call proficient. I'm not even fluent, and I've been teaching it forever, and that really frustrates me that I'm still not fluent. But honestly, and this is a whole nother podcast, I think you have to pretty much live somewhere and be immersed in the language before you can become fluent if you can't practice it every day like you should. But anyway, he talked about languages because he said, what language are we going to speak in heaven? And he talked about how, hey, if you're a language teacher or you enjoy learning languages, he says you're going to have an eternity to learn as many languages as you want. He doesn't think that his opinion
I always
is...
just pictured us being a spirit and we're just going to automatically understand each other.
Me too.
Communicate through the spirit.
Me too. And like he said, these theories could be wrong. They're just based on my interpretation of Scripture. But I thought it was fascinating because I always thought, like I said, I'm always like, God, I love learning Spanish. I love trying to speak it. I love trying to teach it. But is this all there is? Does that make sense? I'm like, it's just a short earthly time. This life is like a vapor. I'm like, what type of eternal value does me teaching and speaking Spanish? Well, according to this book,
there may be some
he
eternal...
feels like we can learn languages if we want. There's no limit. Oh, he's talking about books. He says we never could read all the books we want to in a lifetime. He feels like we will have time. I know this may sound so far-fetched.
Yeah, it kind of does.
To our listeners.
To be honest,
and honestly,
to me,
when I was
just
reading
listening,
it sounded far-fetched. But when you actually read the book and you read the Scripture and you read his reasoning behind it, it doesn't sound so far-fetched.
Right.
He makes very convincing arguments.
Okay.
And just that we may be reading books, that we will have time to enjoy and sit and read, and like I said, we'll have jobs and there'll be exploration. We're gonna be active. We're not gonna be sitting around playing harps,
right? And that's I think there's a huge misconception about because people, especially people who don't know Scripture, they picture what they see on TV, and what do you see on TV? You see cartoons of little angels on, like you said, playing harps on clouds, and the Bible
big
says
white
nothing
fluffy
like
crowds.
that.
It actually describes a beautiful city, and it even describes how big the city is. And oh my goodness, this is where I'm not prepared, and I wish I had the book in front of me. But obviously, you said there's going to be colors. It's almost like we're looking through a veil. Yes. And there are colors that we are going to see and experience that you can't even imagine.
Well, how many people have claimed to gone to heaven, and that's one of the things they talk about is the colors. Yes, and they can't describe how vibrant the colors are.
Yes, and he talked about music. He talked about how we haven't even touched the surface of music and the sounds and the compositions that we are going to hear.
I laugh about people who they get frustrated or mad at their church because they're doing this type of music or that, and I'm thinking, in heaven, I believe there's going to be so many different kinds of music that's going to, and that's why I get almost, I get frustrated too, because I laugh at people thinking people are just, they're in a little box and they just can't see any outside of this box, and they just can't even, I don't think we even have a nth of a degree to what heaven's going to be
clueless.
Like. Yes,
and then, same way in our church, and our preacher mentions this every once in a while. He's like, if you're one of these people that's maybe complaining about, you didn't like the sermon, you didn't like the music, he said, then you're there for the church to serve you and not to serve the church. Right. And you're in the wrong mindset. Yeah. You're looking for the church to serve you. But
I heard one man's testimony that said he died and went to heaven, and he said he could hear all these different types of music. They were different genres and different types, but they all were in harmony to create one song. And they all actually harmonized together to create a song that glorified God. And I thought, who knows?
Well, he touches on so many things. And like I said, I'm not prepared, or I wish I had been as prepared as you. I could have gone through and kind of read some of the chapter headings. But I for sure remember space exploration.
That one's really fascinating to hear that.
Having a job and we'll all have a purpose, and we will have a purpose. Yes. We will be
We're not going to be just
in some way,
like just floating around like people think.
And it's going to be stimulating. We're not going to be you're never going to be bored. We're going to have an eternity to explore all the things we didn't have time to explore on earth. Like I said, like languages and books and art, music. And it's just fascinating. And it made me excited about going to heaven. And he made that point. People aren't excited about going to heaven. They're like, why? Look at everything we're going to get to experience. So even like I said, if you're out there, maybe you're not even a Christian, even to people who aren't Christians, I still think it's a fascinating read to see, even if they're not believers, what possibly maybe they could open their mind and say, well, maybe that's a possibility.
I get so mad when I hear these songs, whether it be country or rock, that they allude to things like, well, I may not go to heaven, but at least I'll be with you. It truly is the mindset of, well, there's things that are better than heaven.
If heaven ain't a lot like Dixie, I don't want to go. I think it's songs like that too, and I know that they're just, I think you could take that with a grain of salt. They don't literally mean a lot of it. Pretty. There they go. Bye-bye, dogs.
Those doggies were laying here by us, so nice and quiet.
I don't know. But anyway, and to Christians, I would definitely recommend it, because if you kind of have a boring, blasé view of heaven, read this book. It's an eye-opener. It'll get you excited about heaven. It'll make heaven more real to you. And like I said, a lot of it's theory, but it is scripture-based. But at least it gets you to thinking what it could be like.
I have a question. I'm wondering if you touched on this. 2 days ago, Cambry's best friend, they had a dog that they were keeping for a relative, but the dog was really old and it died. And the family was really sad and grieving, and Cambry told her friend, oh, well, you'll see it in heaven. And her friend said, no, I won't. They don't have souls. They don't go to heaven. So that was a discussion. And Cambry says, Mom, do dogs go to heaven? Yeah. And I'm thinking, I think they do.
He did. Okay, so he did touch on that. And a lot of people say, no, you're right. They say that dogs don't have souls. They don't go to heaven. and I can't say this with 100% authority,
Mm-hmm.
but it seems like he said he believes our pets could be in heaven. He said, oh, here's another thing he said. This is touching a memory. He said, things that we enjoy on earth, like sports, he thinks that we will definitely have sports in heaven. He said, why would God provide us something that we love and enjoy on earth and not provide it in heaven, was his theory.
Oh, because see, I
So
have
he-
this fantasy of being an ice skater, a
Oh,
figure
there you
skater.
go. Hey, we'll be.
I wanna be a
yeah,
figure
he
skater
believes
in
that there
heaven.
will be, and to me that, and I know our logic does not match God's logic. I'm not
Right.
saying that, but it is logical to me that if we love our pets so much, why couldn't we see them again in heaven?
Right.
If we love sports so much, why can't we participate
what
in
would
these
be
sports
so
in
bad
heaven?
about having animals in heaven? I mean, he
Yeah.
created them
and
for
there
us
definitely
here.
are going to be animals in heaven.
Yeah.
And there's even a scripture that says the lion will lay down with the lamb.
Oh, right,
And some
right.
people say that's not literal; it just means peace. But there are other people who take it literally and say there will be all kinds of animals, and they're all going to get along. 'Cause
Yeah,
it'll be
my
in
thinking
heaven.
is, why would God create all these things and then withdraw them from heaven? This doesn't make sense.
That's what
to me.
Randy Alcorn
Yeah.
is saying. Why would he provide us these things that we are passionate about and
Mm-hmm.
we love? And I think he makes a point to say we shouldn't worship these things.
Oh,
They
sure.
shouldn't idolize them.
Right.
But if they're here for our enjoyment, like music and
Mm-hmm.
art and languages and books and sports, why wouldn't they be in heaven?
Mm-hmm. Right.
That if
Right.
he provides those things for us here on earth to enjoy, he feels like they'll also be in heaven, but just like a tip of the iceberg of,
Mm-hmm.
eye hath not seen nor ear heard the things God has prepared for those who love him. So we don't, like you said, we don't have an inkling, but this book is at least going to get people start to thinking about the possibilities.
Okay. Awesome.
So,
Was that on
I have
Audible?
the hard book, I have the hardback copy, and I have the Audible. So you have two
Okay.
choices. So have I convinced you to read
Oh,
it?
yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
And it is long, and it is a commitment. But I'm definitely going to reread the Simplify Your Life. I totally had forgotten about that book. And I feel bad because you're recommending to me will take me like an hour to read. But what I'm recommending
Oh,
to you is
no.
going to take like 20.
I
If you
know,
listen to it,
but-
it's going to long read.
But the value of it, though, is definitely worth it.
but just the
I
excitement
yeah.
it's going to generate, and just getting the wheels rolling and thinking of the possibilities, it's worth
Yes.
the time investment.
I agree.
So, Heaven by Randy Alcorn.
Okay.
And-
Awesome.
okay.
Thank you for that recommendation.
All right.
All right. Well, I guess we'll wrap things up now.
Okay.
All right. Nothing else?
Next week we're going to be doing Folsom Untold.
Oh, that'll be a good one.
It's going to be
fun.
good. It's
Yeah.
the untold story.
If you are a Johnny Cash fan, you definitely need to
yes,
tune in
Johnny
for that
Cash
one.
fans, please tune in. It's the untold story of the Folsom Prison Blues album.
All
or
right.
Folsom album.
Okay.
So,
All right. Well, we will see you next time. This is Angie.
and this is Joy, and we'll see you next time on
Twin Talk.